So in this presentation, we're going back to square one. We'll define the terms digitization, digitalisation, and digital transformation. We will show examples in manufacturing today and highlight some tips and tools on how to improve adoption of technology. Manufacturers are well aware of the potential benefits in adopting new technologies, from increasing efficiencies with automated processes and supporting decision-making with visible data. The key word here is potential. Manufacturers aren't short of software vendors trying to sell them products. Technology adoption can look expensive and risky when focus is on buying a system, not on how the business will benefit long term. Together with finance, skills, and resourcing, a big challenge to technology adoption is simply getting past the sell and making sense of the terminology. So what are the 3Ds and what's the difference? I guess broadly speaking, the difference is increasing levels of benefit to the business. Digitization is creating electronic records of information. For example, scanning a paper daily production line report sheet to store on your local network or cloud. This is digitization since it creates an electronic copy of what was once on paper. Digitalization is about processes, not just the information. Replacing a production sheet with an app and creating a workflow means the data can be surfaced and shared throughout the organization in customizable reports. And digital transformation is then again the next step up. It's about business strategy. It involves meaningful business change towards empowering your people, optimizing your processes, and accelerating your company's ambitions with technology. So what does that mean? So there is limited value in digitization. In manufacturing, smart sensors are increasingly used to monitor temperature, pressure, and flow. Recording this information on paper, along with productivity reports, scanning and then uploading these sheets onto a local or cloud network is a common document management process. This, however, doesn't leverage the value in the data you have just captured. To come back at a later date and open the files and create a report would be overly manual and take far too long to create any meaningful insight. This results in any problems or lapses in productivity only being noticed further down the line in financial results or monthly reports, often then being too late to react to. An example of digitalizing this, however, would be using a custom app on a tablet that gets filled out at the end of the shift, highlighting OEE and any problems, logging whether there was any breakdowns or manufacturing anomalies. You can then look to create a Power BI solution with workflows to populate management reports with data for real-time analysis by multiple users across multiple systems. It allows you to be proactive rather than reactive, and that's the key. A quote from Forrester highlights up to 73% of all data within an enterprise goes unused for analytics because employees can't get access to insights in the right time frame. Businesses worldwide generate 2 trillion bytes of data every day. 2 trillion. Manufacturers are capturing a huge mass of data that goes largely unused. This could be costing money in terms of lost revenue opportunities, lower efficiencies and productivity, and quality issues. One benefit of digitalizing sensor data would be reducing downtime and reducing wastage with predictive maintenance. Another could be locating anomalies that led to quality issues and being able to react quickly to them. Understanding the right questions to ask of the data and getting useful answers out is the responsibility of the senior management team and not IT delivery, and moves digitalization towards digital transformation. Capturing and processing data is vital, but ensuring data quality and setting KPIs aligned to the business strategy is what creates real, meaningful business change. Decisions around data governance, security, storage infrastructure, and disaster recovery belong to the board. Management intelligence, data and integration initiatives are a pillar of a successful digital transformation program. So 160 million turnover food business implemented new ERP and digitized their sales reporting with Power BI. What was the result? It reduced the burden on the finance team, highlighted data quality issues in ERP, and improved the ERP adoption overall. Process manufacturer Aquascot digitalized production and quality assurance as part of their smart factory initiatives. And Yorkshire's very own Whitby Seafood freed up 500k of raw material funding within 5 months of activating their digital transformation project. And you can find these case studies on our website. So some tips to get started. Begin with your business. Talk to your people. It sounds obvious, but digital technologies are tools to create business value, whether your ambition is efficiency improvement or expansion into new markets. Your people likely already have ideas about how to improve their jobs. So start there. Analyze your processes to understand what's working well and where technology can increase productivity and efficiency. And don't try and boil the ocean. Digitize one process at a time and start there. Align your digital strategy and plan with business goals. There's lots of shiny tech with exciting features, but is it strategically important? One way to drive out priorities is to measure your business's digital maturity. And there are lots of ways to do this. We'd recommend using our free guide to digital transformation, and you can find it on our website via the link on our homepage or in our resources section. So there are tons of options out there. Ones we like is a Power Platform technology stack because, well, it does the job, it's affordable, and businesses with Microsoft 365 already have access to it. Power BI is a data visualization and real-time reporting tool. Power Automate digitalizes manual office processes, and Power Apps is a customizable solution that rapidly adds value. So for example, digitalizing that production sheet. On the next slide, we have a demo of a dashboard we built for a manufacturer that took a production line report sheet and uploaded it into Power BI. So utilizing a combination of the two solutions we mentioned above.
Hi, so I'm Josh. I'm a developer at Fluid. I'm just today going to show you sort of the capabilities of this tool called Power BI. So Power BI is basically like the next step up from Excel reports. It's the next logical step for Excel reports. It can handle a lot more data. It's a lot faster. It's a lot prettier, and it's just nicer to use in general. So it's a reporting tool, and it's kind of the future of reporting, I think, where everything's interactive, and the whole purpose of it and reporting in general really is to find insights, to gain insights from your information. It's all well and good having a massive spreadsheet of machine information, but if you don't know what to do with it and you can't extract any information, useful, actionable information from it, it's pointless really. It's more data and not information. So that's kind of the point of Power BI. I put together a quick demo of what it kind of can do and some ideas of how it works for manufacturing. So I'll just show that. This is based on some work we've done for a client. It's anonymized, but it's the kind of thing that is possible. It's the art of the possible. It's very tailored to what they wanted. So all of this can change. Everything you see, fields can change, KPIs can change, but the general idea remains the same. So this is like the front page, like a dashboard view, has your main information that you're interested in. And this actually was sort of designed to be on the factory floor on a big TV, because this feeds in live this information from an app that I'll show you on another demo that they fill in. So the idea was workers on the factory floor could just sort of see their daily progress on this screen that refreshed sort of in real time. So that's the idea behind this page. It gives you sort of your KPIs like how much scrap you've produced or wastage, and OEE, which is your efficiency, operating efficiency. So it's like the total you have produced versus, or divided by the total potential that you could produce in this case. So those what this customer was interested in. So they just wanted some nice pie charts to show the breakdown of those KPIs by machine, and yeah, that's what this page is. It's perfect for managers, very like sort of high level view. You take it into meetings. You can make this whole thing a PowerPoint as well if you need for meetings. So it's very nice and useful. And then this is over all time and for all products, but in here I can slice it any way I want. So I can filter it, say I only want this month, and that's done. All of that is this month's numbers now. And then got A and B products, A rated products, filter it down to there. and I can filter it all the way down to individual lines or people, even Billy Thomas, who hasn't done anything in, must have been on holiday. But yeah, that's the idea of this. And this filter pane is on every page, and it sort of synchronizes. So you set them in one place and it's just done, and it's nice and quick. There's no rerunning reports or anything. It's all done in real time. So that's this page. Quite a cool feature of Power BI is that if not all of these numbers are relevant to you, which they probably won't be, you can pin them to your own dashboard. So each person can have a dashboard, or as many as they want. So I could make one Josh's dashboard, and I could pin, say I'm only interested in scrap, I could pin these two scrap ones, and I could go throughout the report or any report and pin anything I want to this dashboard, and I'll eventually end up with a collection of graphs and figures that are sort of interesting to me, rather than having to root for a report. I've got quite a nice focused view here, so that's a nice little feature. And then also very good for querying numbers and talking to people. You could just start a conversation about anything that you see in Power BI. If you see some numbers that aren't quite right and you want to ask someone about them, you can just click on that, add a comment, and you can at anyone. Could at Will Newham, for example, and just say, these numbers don't look right. And it would send them an email and get them straight into this graph. There's no sending spreadsheets across or anything like that. It's all just contained within Power BI, and everyone can see them. So then people aren't, there's like one source of the information. Somebody look at this number. Yeah, so that's that. And then we'll sort of go on to some more pages now, a bit more of a detailed breakdown. So for example, OEE, let me close my comments. This is a more of a daily graph, and you can see which days immediately fall below, which are acceptable and which are acceptable and which are exceptional, like really good days. But the main thing you obviously want to do is get to the bottom of why you've got poor performance, and you need to, because you can identify patterns here, but you need to understand why. You need to get the insight from your information. So in Power BI, it's telling you there, you can right click on any data point and drill through and just try and figure out why on this day we've got such a low OEE. So I can do that. I go to this lovely breakdown tree, and my OEE, I can see I've got a minus 134,000 meters over what I should have made. On these lines, I actually produced more than I needed, but on these ones, so line 4, I had a massive decrease. And yeah, this was a massive plummet, and I can drill down into the individual product that was on that line at the time, the shift. You just click it all the way down onto workers. You drill down in that detail, and this is all just generated for you. So that's quite useful to just get insight into your information in a nice visual way, breaking it down. I've got quite a few of these in this report because I just think it's perfect for manufacturing, these breakdown trees. A lot of people make them manually in Excel anyway, and it just takes ages. So this is a real time saver, and it explains, okay, that for this day, this mason was the main reason why we had such a shortfall. So that's that. And we've got a similar thing for scrap. So this is like, why am I not as efficient as I could be? This is more like, okay, where are my wastages coming from? And this is quite an interesting idea. So this is a bit more predictive. You can sort of see the spikes. And ideally, I've said for this example, we should shut down one standard deviation above the average, but that's obviously customizable. So you can sort of see when things are on the rise, you can try and sort out a problem before it leads to a machine having to be shut down. So that's kind of the idea with it. So the same thing applies here for this big peak in scrap. I can have a look at scrap breakdown, and it'll explain, okay, most of this was on line 6. There's only one product running at the time. Most of it was on shift A. Most of it was because there wasn't an operator. So immediately I've explained why I've had such a scrap peak. It was because somebody wasn't there operating it. And that's the power of Power BI, really, being able to figure out why data points like that, quickly being able to figure out why that's 450 kilos rather than having to dig through like thousands or millions of rows of information. You just get it presented to you. So that's that, and then we've got another breakdown tree here, but this more explains downtime as a whole rather than explaining your scrap or your efficiency. It's sort of why have I got so much downtime? So 21,000 minutes of downtime in this period up here. You can see the top machines that are causing it, or top machines that are causing it, and then the reasons. So as we were on about earlier, there's quite a problem with this fictional factory where there's no operators, and most of the time for this machine it's on the D shift and the A shift. So you'd want to have a look at this and the individual workers and just see if there's an underlying issue there of why that this is happening, or why quality faults happening, whether quality faults happening more with certain people. It's all within your power in this kind of thing to just click around and explore it yourself rather than having to do loads of pivot tables and sums and stuff. Finally, got meters per plant hour, which was sort of a bit of a bespoke calculation for this client. Wanted to see how basically what the utilization and output of the factory was. So nice custom calculation we put in for them. And then we've got tabular versions of all these things. So tabular scrap is each scrap entry. And the reason we give these, obviously a lot of people like seeing the data in tables, but you can just export it straight to Excel and open it up and do any further analysis in an environment that you're comfortable in. So it's not replacing Excel, it's just there's one source of information now, which is Power BI, that people can then open up in Excel and see how they want to make pivot tables if they'd like. And yeah, we've got those, we put those for basically everything that you're interested in, and it always goes down well. So that's pretty much it. It's a lot of talking from me, but I think you've hopefully got a brief taste of what Power BI can do. All this data is live, as I've said, so every time you click around it refreshes it from the database. So you're pretty much always looking at live numbers up to now, and I'll show you where the data comes from in the Power Apps video, but it can either come straight from machines if they've been retrofitted or are new enough to be like capable of sending that information to the cloud, or it can come for like with a replacement to manual paper forms, which is a bit less costly but more human effort involved, obviously. So I'll show you that in the next one, but hope you enjoyed it.
So that's the end of the talk, and I hope you guys found it useful. We'll be hosting another webinar in just a few months' time, covering some recommendations on how to navigate the financial uncertainty that's coming. And that will be co-hosted with Steve Crowe from Clarion, who will be covering areas such as debt recovery and funding, and we'll be taking a deeper dive into supply chain and process inefficiencies and quick wins. So keep your eye out for that. So just looking through the chat, I can see a couple of quick questions actually, and it's quite a good one here, which is what skills would I need in my team? Yeah, I guess in short, none really. You don't actually need any specific skills in your team to start your digital journey as such. And as mentioned in one of the slides above, there'll be people in your team already sort of that have ideas on how to improve their job. And so this is the very foundations of digital transformation. You know, it's listen to them, work with them collaboratively, and work out what's possible. Now, of course, what might be said is we need a new system, but we're probably stressed to look inwardly first. You know, now it might be the case that you need a new system, and you know your current ones just aren't suitable. But really, getting the most out of what you currently have is always the best place to start. You know, so typically it's cheaper, and people like the familiar, so it's much better to get the buy-in. You know, so failing that, say if it is the system that truly doesn't fit, we'll probably recommend working with some form of third-party specialist who understands the technology landscape, and then works with you with your interests in mind to help you get the most value out of a new system implementation and adoption. Any others? So if I wanted to get started with Power Apps solution, how much would it typically cost? Yeah, another good question. So, firstly, I think we should probably address sort of, what's the difference between sort of pricing, cost and price. So price is obviously looking at the pounds going out and really not much more. Whereas, looking at something slightly differently, cost is being able to look back in sort of 12 months and say, what did that actually cost us as a business to do? So to do that, you need to look out, obviously, outside of the immediate revenue. You know, you use the time saved, for example, you know, so you use an RPA, you know, implementing system X or process X saved 1,000 hours per year, you know, just taking a random number there. But you know what, the average wage is about £20 per hour. So if you looked at, you know, 20 times 1,000, that's 20 grand, but it actually only cost you 10K to implement. So you've then got a 10K profit. Sorry, a 10K profit, which is then at 100%, you know, so what, then going on a standard sort of, you know, 33% markup is about 40K revenue that you've just generated from spending 10K. So it's looking at things in a slightly different way. And that's really how digital transformation helps you move forward and ensure return on investment